So you're thinking of moving to Las Vegas, but you're worried, is there gonna be enough water to live in Las Vegas? In this video, we're gonna tackle that issue head on and give you the truth versus the fiction. So let's get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Las Vegas, moving to Las Vegas, and the general Las Vegas real estate market, go ahead and hit subscribe, tap that bell for notifications, and you'll be the first in the know for everything that's going on here in the Las Vegas area. Hi, my name's Anthony. I'm a former attorney turned real estate professional who's been in the Las Vegas area since 1981, so I know a thing or two about this area. And my team and I, we get calls, texts, and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move to Las Vegas, and we absolutely love it. Look, if you're looking to make your move in the next 90 days, go ahead and shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email, heck, book a Zoom. All my information's down below. It's super easy, and we'd love to make your move as smooth as possible. So, as I said, today we are going to tackle the issue of, is there enough water in Las Vegas to support the population for the ongoing future? Is there enough for us to continue to grow in population? And we're going to separate the fact from the fiction, the myth from the reality. Look, I get it. We are this fantastic burgeoning city we're the entertainment capital of the world, but we are in the middle of a desert, an arid desert at that. We get about 4 inches of rain per year. How is that enough to support the 2.5 million people that live in Las Vegas or are moving here and growing that population even more? It's a fantastic question, and I get it. Look, it makes for sexy headlines. Las Vegas to run out of water in 5 years. Las Vegas will not have enough water in 2028. Las Vegas is going dry. Lake Mead is at the bottom. All of these things, they make for fantastic headlines. They make you click and go and read their article. I get it, and it makes a lot of sense. But let's cut through the fake news and get to the reality of the situation. So in order to do that, we're going to go back to the beginning, and we're going to go back in history, and we're going to take this thing all the way from the establishment of Las Vegas on to today and the future, and see, is there enough water for us to be at our current population number and continue to grow at the 1% or so per year that they're projecting? Because that's a lot of people. It is a lot of people, and it is a growing area. And we gotta have the water. We have to have the energy. We have to have all of those things to support our quality of life and our lifestyle here. And to have people make sure that they are solid in saying, I'm gonna make Las Vegas my home, but I wanna make sure that there's gonna be enough water. And I get this question all the time, especially if you're coming from different areas where it seems more wet. If you come from the south or the northeast, heck, if you come from California, in a lot of places you go, hey, I don't know, is there going to be water? Even though you are in California are going through your own drought cycle, and we'll talk about this a lot in just a few minutes. But it is a great question, so let's just jump right to it. All right, Las Vegas. What does it mean in Spanish? It means the meadow or the meadows. So what does the meadow have? A meadow has a lot of water. So we are actually a valley. The geography of the Las Vegas area, which includes Henderson, which includes the city of North Las Vegas, which includes the city of Las Vegas and the unincorporated Clark County areas, Enterprise, the master plan community of Summerlin, the Paradise, all of the areas that we consider Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Valley, sits in this bowl. Okay, so we're ringed by mountains all around. Now those mountains get their own snowpack. Yes, they do get snow, and that snowpack, as the weather warms up, it is a desert, that weather warms up, and it dribbles down. And we have a fantastic underground water supply here that up until the mid 1960s or so was our only source of water that we tapped into. We didn't tap into Lake Mead until late in the 60s, even though we could have. So we have got a ton of water under the ground here in Las Vegas. And it's enough to support, you know, a couple hundred, 300, maybe 400,000 people. As you grew past that, then we had to draw on our water allotments from Lake Mead and our other sources. So let's go back and talk about how that allotment's set up. Lake Mead is part of the Colorado River. We dammed up the Colorado River. Before that, we had what was called the Colorado River Compact in 1922, because we aren't the only place to get our water from the Colorado River. In fact, the Colorado River Compact of 1922 separated the water rights to the Colorado River between 7 different states. There was Nevada, California, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Arizona, and New Mexico. That's a lot of states. It's more than 15%, or just about 15% of the states, it was more back in 1922, get their primary water supply from the Colorado River. They made this compact so that not any state would get the majority of the water. First of all, when they made this compact, it was an extremely wet time for the Colorado River. Today, it's a very dry time for the Colorado River. But back when they created this compact, it was a very wet time. So there was a lot more water to divvy up and a lot less population. And the way that they divvied it up was not based on the population. It was more based on the agricultural production of each area. So places like California got a huge amount of the water because they do create a lot of agriculture that supplies the rest of the country with food and crops that are used. So California got a big allotment of the water. Other states got a lot of allotment too. You know, it was divvied up at that time. They came to an agreement and it worked. As we've gone through and the population centers have changed and the amount of agriculture has changed, you know, maybe it's time to rethink some of that. But that's a whole thorny issue unto itself. Let's just go with what we have today. And we will stick with the Colorado River Compact of 1922. The second big historical thing that happened was the creation of the Hoover Dam. Now, the Hoover Dam was completed in 1936, and it blocked off and dammed up a big portion of the Colorado River in order to create a big pool of it and make it easier to get that water to different locations based on the Colorado River Compact. And in fact, you'll see that that water gets transferred all along, and they take it primarily from Lake Mead. Now, there's a couple big things with that. While Las Vegas is the closest geographically to Lake Mead, obviously, it's in our backyard. It's a place where we go recreate. You can go boating on there. You can go do all of those things. So we are the closest geographically to Lake Mead, which was created by the implementation of the Hoover Dam. We actually here in Las Vegas get the smallest apportionment of that water from Lake Mead. In fact, we only get 3% of the Lake Mead water. The other 97% goes to the other 6 states. In fact, Albuquerque, the city of Albuquerque, 575 miles away from the lake, gets a bigger allotment of the water from Lake Mead than does Las Vegas. All right, so the next part is, how does the water get to all those places? Well, all of those hydroelectric plants within and created inside of the Hoover Dam, they do not supply the power for the Strip. They do not supply the power for Las Vegas. Yes, some of the power goes to the city of Boulder City, which is just outside of the Las Vegas area, and a little bit of it goes to Laughlin. But the vast majority of the electricity that is created inside of the Hoover Dam is used just to pump the water from Lake Mead to the 6 other states. So all of that electricity is not used by the population. It is used just to transport the water. Look, some of those areas, for example, New Mexico and parts of Colorado, you have to go over the Continental Divide. So you have to take the water from 2,000 feet above sea level, which is about where Lake Mead is. You have to take it up over the Continental Divide, and that water does not defy gravity. You have to push it and pump it over those mountains to get it to drop down into New Mexico and into Albuquerque and into those other states where you have to pump the water. We talk about, oh, there's so much electrical production. Well, all that electricity is just used to move the water to all the other areas. And speaking about how small of a portion that Las Vegas gets out of Lake Mead, there are some individual farmers who are actually getting more water from Lake Mead than the entire Las Vegas Valley. So one farmer gets more water per year than does all of Las Vegas from Lake Mead. So, you know, that water is not Las Vegas's water. That's the entire Southwest's water supply. So it's a big consideration for not just Las Vegas, but for all of the Southwest. The lake is at a historically low level. It's very low right now, and there's no doubting or lying about that. You cannot sugarcoat that. However, when the lake is at its normal level, 15% of the lake is actually underneath where they can use it through those spillways. So let's say here's the spillway up here where the water is going to go through the pipes and to the different states. 15% of the lake is below that. There's no physical way of getting it up into those spillways. In 2020, in the Las Vegas area at Lake Mead, we completed the third straw project. And what it does is it goes beneath that level where the spillways are and actually taps into that 15% and the groundwater. So Las Vegas gets all of its water, not from any of the water that is above the lake that goes to other areas. We get our 3% allotment from underneath the spillway. Water that isn't available to go to any of the other states. So just for the physical reasons alone of where the water is and where we here in Las Vegas get our water, it's virtually impossible for us to physically run out of water for our population. In fact, again, because Las Vegas is inside of this valley surrounded by mountains, you would actually run out of physical space to build and have the population grow. Then you would run out of water to fulfill the needs of the citizens that are inside of that physical area. So we're restrained here not by water, but by physical space. So that is one of the big things. But that is not the end of the story. You know, look, we get the physical realities. We get that it's hot here during the summer. We get that our water supply is somewhat limited, and we have been very forward thinking. The community of Las Vegas and our officials have come together and decided more than 2 decades ago, we are going to be the premier area for water conservation and water reclamation. And we've put our actions where our talk is. In 2002, we had 750,000 fewer people than we do today. Today, with 750,000 more people, we actually use 26% less water than we did in 2002. So we have done a very good job of making sure that our water usage is smart, that we conserve, that we recycle, that we do all of those things. For example, in a lot of my videos, you'll see me actually highlight when a home has grass in its front yard. Well, that tells you a couple things. One, you know that it was built before 2002, because after 2002, you could no longer put grass in your front yard. So you see all the desert landscaping and the low water impact landscaping, that includes synthetic grass, that includes desert landscaping, that includes all of those things out here in the desert. And that did a fantastic job of conserving water. On top of that, we have spent a lot of money as a community with our tax dollars to incentivize people who still do have grass, who were built before 2002, who weren't required to not have grass in their front yard. We spend a lot of money trying to get people to convert to a desert landscaping. The Southern Nevada Water Authority pays $3 per square foot to take out water using grass and replace it with desert landscaping or water conservation landscaping, the synthetic turf, those kinds of things. So we have made a lot of movement just with measures like that. On top of that, they just recently passed a law that is ripping out all of they call it non-functional grass. So those are things like the grass along sidewalks, the grass in the middle of the road, all of those areas. Now you go, gosh, it's just little pieces of grass, how much does it use? Well, it may seem like a little bit of grass, but 1 square foot of grass uses 73 gallons of water per year. When you rip that out and put in more drought tolerant desert landscaping, synthetic grass, those types of things, that water usage goes from 73 gallons per square foot down to 18 gallons per square foot. So this one law will save the Las Vegas area 10 billion gallons of water per year. That is 10% of the water supply that we have here in Las Vegas. That is a huge amount of water that can help us grow more urban, more population. On top of that, we have also become the preeminent recyclers of water, and we are the top of the food chain when it comes to recycling water. Everything, just about everything in Las Vegas, if it goes down a drain, is brought back into our system, cleaned at facilities, and dumped back into Lake Mead. And for that, we get water credits because basically we've created a closed loop system where the water just keeps recycling. It comes out of Lake Mead, we use it, it goes back and gets cleaned, puts back into the water supply at Lake Mead, and then we use it again. You could leave on you could flush every toilet. You could leave on every sink. You could leave the dishwashers running in every hotel room on the strip, in every house in the Las Vegas area. You could leave them on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we would not use 1 iota more water because it just gets recycled back into the system. So we have become super users and super conservers of the water that we do have available to us. And it's one of the reasons why we continue to thrive. There is no potential for us to go dry here in Las Vegas and everything just to shut down because there's no more water. That's just not how we've done it. We've been forward thinking. So we have a lot of water here for continued population growth. So we are in a great position here in the Las Vegas area as far as water goes. Some of the other states that haven't taken the actions that we've done, that haven't created a more drought tolerant use of water, who haven't gone to a water conservation lifestyle, that haven't done the reclamation of the water, those areas, California just instituted that they're going to limit the amount of watering you can do outdoors to a certain number of days per week. Those other states, those are the states that don't realize, the population doesn't realize that they get their water from Lake Mead. They just don't have a big pot of water that they get to use. Their big pot of water is Lake Mead, and Lake Mead is going down right now Arizona has been forward thinking, and they have put on their own. Like, we put in the third straw that gets our water from the bottom of Lake Mead. They said we're not going to rely 100% on Lake Mead, and they have their own Salt River facility that they brought online to supplement. Now they have an excess of water. We're at the forefront of making good use of our water. We have become the model of what the other states are now looking at and saying, okay, water is an issue. What kind of these programs can we implement here to make sure that there's enough water here? But I digress. It's beyond the scope of what we're talking about here. In this video, we're talking about the water in Las Vegas. And look, the reality of it is, yes, it makes good headlines. And yes, it makes sense when you think about it. Oh, it's a desert, there's no water. But the realities of it are that yes, we are a desert, but we have a lot of water. We have enough water to sustain our lifestyles. We have enough water to sustain our growth. And we have enough water to keep going for a long time. You know, of course, there's a possibility that anything in the world could happen. But for the foreseeable future, absolutely, there is no issue about water, and that should not be one of your factors in determining whether or not Las Vegas would be a fantastic place for you to move. Because look, we are the entertainment capital of the world. We have so many things going for us. Water should not be one of the things that you think about when you move here. So I hope that kind of dispelled some of the rumors, some of the things that you may have heard or thought about or intuitively thought. We're just fine where we are. We've got the room, we've got the ability, we've got the water. So don't let that, enter into your decision-making process. Watch this video, pass this video on. Go ahead and drop me a comment below. Tell me what you think about it. Does that make sense to you? Did I change your perspective on the water here in Las Vegas? We do have tons of water. All right, that's enough for me for today. I hope I made my point. I hope that you feel more confident that the water supply here is enough to last for a long time. It definitely has room for you to come make it out here. So if I don't see you in the neighborhood, I'll see you on the next video, and thanks for watching. Take care.